So I've had some really awesome conversations the last couple of days, and one of those conversations asked me why was it that I was so focused on growth and you probably started with the health and fitness. Here's the thing, right? Like over the last number of years, I think I've lost track. I think what I have endeavored to do is to understand myself better. Understand the ways that I think and the way that the lens that I look through has colored my belief systems and what I think is possible, what I think is impossible, and it kind of got me thinking this the way we reach out for feedback, the way we receive feedback, how we process that feedback, how we see it. And I heard I think it was Patrick Lencioni that was talking about it. Basically said, we oftentimes look at the things that are good in our life, our business, our whatever. We see them as things that came from within, and the things that are bad in our life and our business and what have you, we see them as things that came from external, right? It happened to us, and the reverse is also true, right? So it was an interesting conversation, because what I began to realize was that my pursuit of better understanding myself has, step one was sort of reaching out and gaining more feedback, but step two, where it really began to change, was when I realized that the feedback sort of had a place. And so I thought I'd share with you guys just a little bit today about that. And Jay Shetty, who is, I can't remember, he's the monk, but he's got a great podcast. He wrote a book called Think Like a Monk, and I really like the book because what he talks about in there is that you are, things happen, good things happen, bad things happen, things just happen, and it's okay for things to just be. And I think we have to do that if we decide that, listen, most people don't ever want to know what the feedback is. Okay. That the input is just, ignorance is bliss. So be careful. If you decide that you want to go down a journey of pursuing knowing yourself better, there's going to be some messy moments, right? Let's just put it that way. I'm going to give you just a few maybe tips on how to handle that and how to navigate that. But just understand, we are all human. I am, the way I view my life, the things that are around me they're colored through a lens that is from my past experiences, good or bad. And so allowing myself to just sort of experience life that way is great, as long as I understand it doesn't necessarily mean it's real. Okay. That might have been a little bit too deep, but I'm going to go through this, right? Here's some ideas to putting feedback in a space, because again, if I go out and I seek feedback, I'm going to likely get it. All right. And I think it was, as Tom Ferry says, right, your mind is a very, very, very scary place to be. And if you don't address this in advance, this could be really, really painful. So number one, there is no bad information. There is no bad information. There is also no good information. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were talking about how we had met before. We had met at a conference, and she had sought me out to introduce herself to me. The experience that she and I had were two very, very different experiences, right? To her, I appeared aloof, like, thank you. Like, why are we, okay, great, thanks, nice to meet you. To me, it was totally opposite. Like, why are you wanting to meet me? Okay. The exact same experience was received two different ways, right? So when I say there is neither good information or bad information, I mean just that. Just let it be. Okay. Because again, I think human nature is we take in a positive and we're like, oh, hey, check me out. And then we take in a negative and we're like, oh, that's something else, right? Again, external. Number two, digest all of the information. Don't feel it. Don't feel it, right? There's a saying, I think it's in one of our favorite 12-step programs. It says, hey, listen, take the information, take what you want, leave the rest. This is a feedback loop. That which is coming to you is not truth. It's someone else's truth. It does not need to be your truth. Okay. So digest it, but don't feel it. Number 3, it's between you and your maker. Ultimately, you guys, the bottom line is when you go to bed at night and you are going to put your head on the pillow, it's between, like, it's what you think, right? Worrying about what others think and allowing the opinions of others to determine how you're going to feel about yourself is literally the disease of underachievement. I'm going to say that again. Worrying about what other people think about you is the disease to underachievement. Okay. So don't be an underachiever. Allow the information to come in, but understand that it ultimately is how you are going to deal with it, right? And then my last one is see, be, and honest, right? Once you've eliminated the emotion, right, and you've gained this insight, you can process the input, right? Now you can actually see the areas that you have decided that you want to pour into and work on. You can go forward being the person that you want to be. And then you need to be honest with yourself. Did I show up correctly? Again, this is not a failure is the end of all things. We grow, right? Like, we have to continue to grow. This is a journey, I guess, is the bottom line. Is seeking out input puts you in the top 5% of the world, right? I think most people just go about their life. There is a way to do it. I have literally had conversations. In one conversation, I've had somebody tell me, that I was too positive, and then in the next breath told me that I was too negative. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Oftentimes, the feedback that we're getting from somebody else says a whole lot more about them than it does us. But if we're going to think like a monk, and we're going to care enough to gather as much information as possible so that we can be the best version of ourselves, we've got to make it okay for people to give us the information. All right, we've got to digest it, and we've got to get clear that it's us. It's all about what we think of it, not what everybody else thinks of it. So anyway, I leave you with that. As always, be distinctive, and